Ovechkin accelerates in. Toe drag's gorgeous! He scores! Pawns it off there. Oh! Ovechkin destroyed Route 2. Ovechkin, a beautiful move down the wing. Ovechkin full speed to the inside. He scores!
You wouldn't think a guy with well over 800 goals in the National Hockey League and with a chance to break Wayne Gretzky's unbelievable goals record would also be a guy who could blow you up at any moment and backs down from no one out on the ice. But Russian superstar Alexander Ovechkin is unlike any player we've ever seen in the game of hockey and can truly be described as a guy who is one of a kind. The Great Eight has been one of the faces of hockey for nearly 2 decades now, and his electric goal-scoring ability, physical play, and fun personality has made him one of the most popular players in the game's history and a true legend on and off the ice. Entering the league via the 2004 entry draft, Ovi was looked at as the most talented hockey prospect since Mario Lemieux. And with the NHL lockout in the 2004-05 season, he ended up in the same rookie class as Canadian phenom Sidney Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins. These two went back and forth, wowing the hockey world with their spectacular play in their first years, but it was Ovechkin who would take home the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year, scoring an impressive 52 goals and 106 points. His 52 goals were the third most ever by a rookie in NHL history. And little did we know that he would go on to score 50-plus goals 9 times in his career and would also end up leading the league in goals the same number of times, with a record 9 Rocket Richard trophies. Ovi became one of the most exciting players in hockey pretty much as soon as he stepped onto NHL ice. But during the 2007-08 season, he had a year for the ages. He exploded for a ridiculous 65 goals and 112 points, both which led the league. He took home the Hart Trophy, the Ted Lindsay, the Rocket Richard, and the Art Ross, all for the first time in his career, and he was doing it all with swagger and style that you don't always see from a lot of NHLers. He also wore a flashy tinted visor and some yellow skate laces, making him really stand out on the ice, and I'm sure lots of kids around the DC area and really all over the world wanted to be like Ovi and maybe wear some of the stuff he wore. In 2008-09, the Great Eight again took home quite a bit of hardware, winning the Hart, Ted Lindsay, and Rocket Richard for the second straight year. Ovi scored 56 goals this year, but he also fired an astonishing 528 shots on goal, 156 more than the second leading shot getter Eric Stahl, and the second highest ever total in an NHL season behind only Phil Esposito, who had a ridiculous 550 shots in 1971, in the year where he scored 76 goals. Ovechkin's shot total averaged nearly 7 on net per game, and during his playing days, the only player to come even remotely close to that shot mark has been David Pastrnak in 2022-23, and the NHL's most offensive season since 1993, and even Pasta's 407 shots on goal were still 121 fewer than Ovechkin's insane total. The next few seasons, Ovi continued to play well and the Capitals were making the playoffs, but the team could not get past the second round, and although he was still very much in his prime, and so was his partner in crime, Nicholas Backstrom, and the team had some up-and-coming young stars like defenseman John Carlson and goaltender Braden Holtby, people were doubting the Great Eight and the team, and some wondered if he would ever win a cup in Washington. In the 2012-13 season, Ovechkin would enter a 4-year stretch of dominance as the game's best goal scorer, leading the league each season in goals, power play goals, and of course, shots on goal. Although the Caps made playoffs in 3 of these 4 years, they again wouldn't make it past round 2. Not even in 2015-16, when they had 56 wins and won the President's Trophy, they were taken down by Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins, who went on to win the Cup. Although Ovechkin had one of his lowest scoring seasons offensively the next year, Washington was an absolute wagon and won the President's Trophy for a second straight season. But in the playoffs, Ovi and the Capitals had deja vu in round 2, matching up with rival Pittsburgh, losing in 7, and watching the Pens win Lord Stanley for a second straight summer. And after this, the narrative around the league was that Ovechkin was not the kind of player you can win a cup with, and that the Caps may never win with him as the captain. But the next summer, all of this would finally change. In the 2017-18 season, Ovechkin went back to leading the league in goals, this time with 49, and although the Capitals' regular season wasn't as good as the past 2 years, it didn't matter, because the team knew what they had to do to win, and they knew that they would only be defined by how they played in the postseason. Ovi would score 5 goals in the 6-game series win against the Columbus Blue Jackets, which would set up a round 2 matchup against their arch nemesis, the Pittsburgh Penguins. One team looking for a three-peat, and one looking for the franchise's first cup, and one player looking to cement his legacy as one of the greatest to ever do it. And finally, the Capitals took down Pittsburgh in Game 6 in overtime, and with Ovechkin leading Washington with 3 goals and 7 points. The conference finals matchup certainly wasn't easy against the stacked Tampa Bay Lightning, who scored more goals than anyone else in the regular season, but the Capitals got the job done, this time in 7, and again Ovechkin led by example and on the scoreboard with 4 goals in the series. In the Stanley Cup final, Washington had to face off against the storybook Vegas Golden Knights, who were having the best season of any expansion team really in pro sports history. But they would finally run out of steam, and the Caps won the series in 5, winning their first Stanley Cup. And of course, the winner of the Conn Smythe for playoff MVP was Alexander Ovechkin, who had 15 goals, more than any other player in the postseason. And after this, he would go on one of the most legendary benders in NHL history to celebrate, going all over the place with the cup and spending as much time with it as he possibly could. During this cup run, Ovi also took a puck directly to the mouth and didn't even flinch one bit, showing how ridiculously tough he is and also how much of a nutjob he is. And I mean this in the best way possible. After the cup win, Ovechkin would win 2 more Rocket Richard trophies in back-to-back years, and even tallied 50 goals during the 2021-22 season at 36 years old. But since then, the Capitals haven't had much playoff success, only a few more early exits during their postseason play. Alex Ovechkin has done enough in his career to prove to me, and I'm sure many others, that he is the best goal scorer in NHL history. I know Gretzky still has more goals, but Ovi will likely pass him up in a few seasons if he stays healthy and produces at even half the pace he used to. He's also done it in an era where it wasn't always easy to score goals, and goaltenders have gotten better and better at the position. It's also amazing to me how he's been such a weapon on the power play for so many years, leading the league in that category 6 times and being the current NHL leader all-time in power play goals. Many of them from a similar spot. Some call it Ovi's office. Every team knew it was coming, but no one could stop it. He's also one of the best personalities in the game, having had many great moments at All-Star games over the years, in interviews, and even being the star in a bunch of commercials as well. And on the ice, his competitive nature is second to none. I'm sure many of you guys remember him blowing up Jaromir Jagr in the 2010 Vancouver Olympics. And also his big hit on fellow countryman Evgeny Malkin in the heat of that rivalry. Ovi is also one of a kind in the habits he has and the things he does off the ice, like allegedly crossing marinara and Alfredo sauce when eating pasta and drinking Coca-Cola on the bench during games. He has been one of the most impactful players in hockey history, and we will likely never see another player with his elite combination of goal-scoring ability, physical play, toughness, and level of compete. Go get that record, Ovi. Thanks for being so much fun to watch all these years.